I am Treese, and tonight I'm jonesing with.
Man, and tonight we are jonesing on Maker's Mark 101.
Yeah.
So, Treese, as always, I definitely like to thank my special guest. My Joneses have seen you before because we did the Gia's event and had a really good blast. We got to make sure we try and do that again once they have something good going on. I've been watching, but nothing fancy, nothing really good worth going lately. Have you seen anything?
No, not really. But I haven't really been looking, but
Yeah, yeah. We get busy. We have work and other stuff to do. Well, tonight we are going to be tasting this Maker's Mark 101. So essentially, what we're going to do is we're going to crack this thing open. I usually will give a little history about it, but as I am opening my box and pulling it out here, and getting ready to tell them a little bit about this bottle, I will be asking for your tipsy tale, and to share any like social media, anything that you got going on that you want to share. But that's essentially the format of how it goes. So this is Maker's Mark 101. I think it was about 41 bucks, 42 bucks.
I may have paid closer to 50, about like 48.
48?
Yeah.
Okay. Well then we both bought it in North Carolina, so I'm pretty sure it was probably 48. I don't know why I'm thinking 41, but okay. 48 sounds good. And I don't think we've ever done Maker's Mark on a Jones and Mann, so this is Maker's Mark 40 some bucks, and I'll get verified, but you just bought it last night, so probably
Mhm.
48 bucks for 750 milliliter. It's a wheated bourbon. The Samuels, make sure I say it right. Samuels family has been in whiskey for like generations, and if you listen to Bill talk, he'll say, well, we were in the whiskey for a while, but we haven't always made great whiskey. So, earlier part of that, they were making some, but it was the period. You're talking about, before any of the, around Prohibition time, maybe even before. So, it was definitely a much different world for whiskey. It is known for being weeded. It is known, Maker's Mark really has one mash bill all the way around. I think probably the newest thing that they've done has been 46. Um, the 101 actually has been sold much longer than what we're seeing recently because it's like a airport thing, or what do they call it, duty free, that you would see
No.
the 101. And
Okay.
it's essentially the same juice that you typically would get, just at a higher proof, which is the one where the 101 comes from. Other last fun fact is the grandma is attributed with suggesting, well, she's attributed with a lot when it comes to Maker's Mark, but she's accredited with making the suggestion to hand dip it in wax. So I thought that was pretty cool because you recognize it right off the bat because of that wax.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, it looks cool to me. I like it.
yeah. So now, if we can figure out how to open it, let's do what we do. I am going. Oh yeah, it's easy. It's easy. You just peel
Okay.
on
I,
around. I mean, it's some excitement. It feels like you're doing something, right?
I feel very excited, so yes.
And what we'll do is we'll pour, house rules, a neat pour and an on the rocks pour,
Uh-oh.
and we'll basically just talk about whether we like it or whether we don't.
All right, I thought it was going to be simple. I'm having a little bit of trouble.
Okay, it is a twist top.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
it's not a cork.
cool, cool, cool.
Now it really smells good. I'm gonna go ahead and pour me a on the rocks pour and a neat pour. I've
It's
had
nice.
Maker's Mark before. Have you had Maker's Mark before?
Um, Perhaps.
Okay.
I can't remember.
I have. I'm sure I've had it before because I've had the 46. I've had the regular, but it's not a regular staple for me. So this is gonna be really, really new, and the fact that it's 101. I tell Joneses know that I'm not a proofer. I don't need high proof for me to love it. I really prefer it to be an easy drinker, but it is weeded, and I really like weededs.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, so I know you've been waiting to kind of crack into this one, so let's let's give it a whiff.
Okay. Smells like a whiskey.
My whiskey. There's some vanilla in there.
Get a
May,
little bit of spice on my end.
yeah, maybe a little like spice, bacon spices. I kind of at first caught a little like honey almost, but that might have just been initially.
I get a little bit of honey.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
let's do what we do best, and let's clink them and drink them.
Right.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Now I'm having some technical difficulties on the camera side. So while we are taking that initial sip, there we go. My first camera went out, so we're gonna get a much narrower view for this episode, but that's all right. Maybe it'll come back later. Um, I can feel the heat. Warms my chest up a little bit.
It hadn't made it to my chest yet, but it definitely warmed my mouth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it made it to my. I mean, it hadn't spread all the way through,
Mm-hmm.
but a little bit got down in there. I felt it. Woo. But
Yeah,
it's
fruit
not
for sure.
yeah, it's not bad though.
Yeah.
Um, so one thing I normally ask too that I didn't this time is you are primarily or your preference is whiskey.
Yes.
So this is right up your alley, right?
Oh yeah. It definitely is. I don't know. It's just whiskey has such a nice grown and sexy vibe, and so
Okay.
it's got a nice little smooth, mood that it puts you in.
All right. Yeah, that's what they call it. All right. So let's try it on the rocks. Clink them and drink them. Oh, I'm probably on this side now, but it'll work out. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Very
just
interesting.
yeah, very interesting. Just soaking it all in.
Yeah.
I always will say, ladies first. I'll give you a chance to tell us what you think. Cool thing about Jones and Mann is we love the fact that hey, you know, you bought your own bottle, I bought my own bottle. We have all the rights to say we love this. Here's what we like, we hate it, or whatever in the middle. So we want you to rate it. Give us what you taste and what you feel, but then we want you to rate it on a scale of 1 to 5. 1 being, let's push this bottle off the table. I made a bad choice. Or 5 being, I love it. I enjoy it. It's delicious. This is my new go-to. Where do we fall?
All right. So with the neat pour for me, it's got a bit of a kick to it, but not the strongest kick I felt. Um, I'm not a big fan of the mouthfeel and how it kind of sticks around, but it's still, got some smoothness to it. It's a little more smooth on ice. Um, and that kind of helps to, of course, dilute it a little bit, thin it out some, which makes it a little bit more pleasant. But it's still that mouthfeel. Like I'm still, even after a few minutes of drinking it, it's still in my mouth. And
Yeah.
I'm not a real big fan of that. But if I had to rate it compared to something like the 1792 or the Four Roses Single Barrel, I would probably give this a 3.
Okay. Okay. When you say the mouth feel, is it the like the slick smoothness, or is there a taste?
For me, I guess maybe more so a combination of it.
Okay.
I can definitely sense a thicker texture. It's
Yeah.
not watery by any means. And then the fact that I still, maybe it's more of a tingling that it's putting in my mouth,
Mm-hmm.
but I still get some of that flavor much later after I drink it, and I don't like that too much. I kind of like for it if it's going to give me a little kick, give me the kick, and then go on about its day. But
Yeah, yeah. So I kind of I really agree with you there. I think it does. I mean, but if you swirl it around in your glass, you see a lot of tears in there. And I
mm,
feel like because I feel like Weedits are a little thicker
okay.
overall. So you get a lasting mouthfeel, and I
Hmm.
think the proof, the 101,
Yeah, that's got to
it
be considered.
yeah, it finishes all the way through to the end. I don't honestly, I don't necessarily think if I had this solo, I would say it was a 101.
Mm,
Because, or I mean, I know that there's proof there, but I might would say 90s
mm,
versus
yeah.
101 because it's not quite like like some excuse me, some ball and bonds
Mm,
have way more kick than
yeah.
this automatically.
Hmm.
So I do agree.
Bad. Yeah, it's
It's
not too bad.
it's not bad. I
Yeah.
do agree that the neat pour tapers it down a lot,
Mm,
and it really it provides the avenue for you to kind of enjoy
yeah.
what the flavors are a little bit more. I let it sit a little bit longer. I mean, I think I'm a fan of it at 101. At $48, it's
Mm,
not too bad of a price point.
yeah.
I'm gonna notch it up a little bit more and give it a 3.5.
Okay.
But I'm right there with you. I don't know if it's just I haven't had Maker's Mark in a while, so I'm being a little more lenient on it. But I kind of like it. I was actually expecting it to be a lot hotter and
Mm,
less enjoyable,
yeah.
and it still works for me. So the fact that it still works and it's Maker's Mark,
Hmm.
I'm gonna give it a 3.5.
Yeah, I definitely order it neat depending on my mood. Yeah.
And I know you got some, so you got a what do they call it? A persuasion towards a nice cocktail on occasion.
Yeah.
I believe that this would lend well to a nice cocktail and still stand up and not get lost in a couple of items that are mixed into it.
And for some reason now, when I'm going back to the neat pour a little bit later, it's a little bit more pleasant than when
Mm-hmm.
I initially took
Yeah,
it. So it's, you know,
I think
getting better.
I saw a video uh, that I keep wanting to. I'm sure it's Bill Samuels. I'm sure that's the name. But if I messed it up, I messed it up.
Hmm.
That he talks about, like, he's a guy who says, hey, there's nothing wrong with making a Manhattan. um, and I think that he talks about adding a little bit of water to a spirit in order to get it to the proof that you want. And technically all we really done is chill the spirit, and chilling
Yeah.
it adds a little bit of water because that heat's going to shave some of that off.
Hmm.
And I think with a little bit of time, I think many, I'm not going to say all, but many spirits do benefit from a little
Yeah.
bit of ice or a little bit of water to me.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it now.
Yeah, see, okay. So while we're sitting here, we might get back to it a little bit later. Go ahead and tell us, well, one, if you got any social media, anything that you want to share, and two, if you want to let us in on one of your tipsy tales or tell us about your special guest. Well, he's gone now, ain't
Yes, he finally laid down. Yes, my dog Freddie.
he?
Let me
Freddie
see.
likes whiskey, I believe.
He likes to be. He likes attention. That's what he likes. But okay, a tipsy tale. Um, well, I guess okay. So me and my friends, we go on this trip. Everybody puts in, and we get a nice condo down in Savannah or Tybee Island to be more specific.
Uh-huh.
And one night we're just making drinks, and this was my first time having grain alcohol. Was very unfamiliar with it. So I just remember we had there were drinks with pineapple juice, and it had the grain I call it might have been some vodka, and then for some reason I had a beer was in there. All I remember is us going to the beach because we were right on the beachfront. It was really beautiful.
Yeah.
And it was nighttime, and I just remember just having such a good time, and the stars are so bright, and the moon is just so beautiful, and I'm feeling so great. I'm having the best time of my life. But then for some reason, thankfully we made it back to the condo, but things made a very drastic turn for the worse, and not to be gross, but you know how they say when you get so sick where it's coming out of like both ends.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, it was bad.
Yeah.
The very next morning, I didn't want to smell anything that was remotely similar to pineapple
Yeah.
at all. But I learned my lesson and never again.
Moderation and pacing.
Yeah.
See what happened right there in that scenario is that first drink you had was visiting you while you
Yeah.
were on the beach and everything was beautiful and the stars were bright and pretty. But probably drink 4 and 5
Oh man.
showed up to the party and was like, "Let's get it on!" And yeah. It happens. It happens. It happens to the best of us. It happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
I don't know if you got any social media, anything going on that you want to share. You know, I always, hey, it's a small platform, but it is a platform.
I don't have very much going on. If people like, they can follow me on Instagram at Nellie Treese.
Okay.
That's Nellietrese. It's not very exciting, but let's
It's you.
connect.
That's right. All right. Well, cool. First of all, let me say thank you again. It's I think very few times do I have women on that enjoy whiskey, and usually I say, well, we can do a whiskey, and they're like, no, I don't know. Let's do something else. So I always take advantage of it because there's plenty of women who enjoy whiskey. So I wanna bring in that demographic. Um, Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jones and Mann. And if you haven't heard by now, we have a new partnership with CWspirits.com. You can use promo code MAN10 to save money. I got a Jones and Mann bar essential pack, which is 6 bottles, shipped straight to your door, free shipping over $125, and use that code to save a little bit of money off. Everything else on the site, you can use Clinkum5 and save money off, and I'll put those down below so you can see. I need for y'all to go out and buy some stuff. Get you some liquor, drink with us. Don't forget Prestige decanters. We got plenty of decanters popping off. I'm going to introduce you to some new glassware that they have pretty soon. But yeah, I mean, support the brand, support the channel so we can keep doing it. Again, Treese, I really do appreciate you joining us. And I'm glad that we kind of liked 3.3 and 3.5 is pretty good.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't regret the purchase.
Yeah, good purchase for sure.
Yeah. Well, we'll see you next time. Clink 'em and drink 'em.